Oh, we're back now. Yay! I think it was a restream thing. I don't think it was necessarily like my internet or anything. Cuz my internet was still working and I can't get my chat back. Hey guys, well at least it shows up on screen. That's something. I guess that means we should probably do the news, right? BKs, welcome in. Yesterday, Trump addressed rumors of his death. I think I'm back. Yay. It won't load up my story though. Light one up, tip one back. I was giving away powerful secrets of the porn industry, and they run the internet. They are the trillion-dollar industry behind the internet. I totally love you. Just the tip. Oh God, I left my tea in the fridge or in the freezer. It's probably a solid block of ice now, which could be good. You get like tea slushy. My video doesn't want to load up for some reason. I'm trying to get to the news, but we're just sitting here. In the spiral of death. Oh, never believe anybody that says it's just the tip. It is real fun to rub the tip on the clit, though. God damn it.
You live in sexual anarchy?
It's still just I don't know what happened to. Oh, there we go. Finally. Finally we get it loading up. Clearly the little mushroom part, my lord. Mushroom head thing. That's the tip.
Putting to bed some wild rumors sparked over the weekend concerning his health.
And although he's been posting consistently on social media, speculation over whether the president had died ran rampant. Trump responding to the rumors today, saying he was very active over Labor Day weekend.
I knew they were saying, like, is he okay? How's he feeling? What's wrong? I said, I just left. And it's also sort of a longer weekend, it's Labor Day weekend. So I would say a lot of people know I was very active this Labor Day.
In July, a concern about President Trump's health arose after social media users questioned the appearance of bruising on his hands. The White House announced that the president suffered from chronic venous insufficiency, a condition that causes swelling in the legs and bruising in the hands. A 5-year-old boy in Florida had such a craving for Chick-fil-A, he decided to walk to the restaurant without his parents.
Do you blame him? Fox's Randy Hill.
Oh my God! Why did they attach this to the Trump story?
Off from home and ends up.
I actually have this for later on in the show.
Are you going to get me in jail?
No, I'm not going to put you in jail.
This Jacksonville sheriff's officer, cheery, because this story, fortunately, has a happy ending. It all started when 5-year-old
Rumors were swirling that the president might have died. Here's a boy that walked to Chick-fil-A.
down to a Chick-fil-A near his house for some breakfast.
Hey, buddy.
Look at that.
The staff at the restaurant gave him some food.
The wild thing is like
When they tried to figure out where
titling it about the boy in Chick-fil-A would have got more clicks than Trump responds to. You should have absolutely done it as 2 separate videos for the SEO. Box 29 in Philadelphia. I'm available. You can hire me. I'll come to work where you tell you the shit you're doing wrong like that. Sorry. I'm told that it's a soft job market. And that if you have a job, you should hold on to it because things aren't looking good. The House voted 212 to 208 to approve the Jeffrey Epstein probe measure.
Several of us Epstein survivors have been discussing creating our own list of names. Yes.
This was yesterday morning. DJ Dub.
Know the names.
I'm thinking so.
Many of us were abused by them.
The thing that we really want is the discharge petition. I do not believe that this is the discharge petition.
Our demands are clear. Elaine Maxwell must remain in a maximum security prison for the rest of her life. No leniency, no deals, no special treatment. The Epstein documents must be unsealed. Every name, every detail, no more secrets, no more protection for those who preyed on the vulnerable. And finally, we demand full accountability from every enabler, every accomplice, every person in power who turned a blind eye. The justice system was not designed to serve the powerful. It was meant to protect the people.
I was just one of the many young women trapped in his orbit. I was even taken on a trip to Africa with former President Bill Clinton and other notable figures. In those moments, I realized how powerless I was. If I spoke out, who would believe me? Who would protect me? Epstein himself was the most powerful leader of our country. Epstein surrounded himself, with the most powerful leaders of our country and the world. He abused not only me, but countless others, and everyone seemed to look away. The truth is, Epstein had a free pass. He bragged about his powerful friends, including our current president, Donald Trump. It was his biggest brag, actually.
Jeffrey Epstein, sexual abuse survivors and their family members shared their stories in Washington, D.C. Now, this comes as the House voted 212 to 208 to approve a measure directing the House Oversight Committee to continue its ongoing investigation into the Epstein case. Let's bring in CBS News congressional correspondent Caitlin Huey-Burns, joining us live now from Capitol Hill. Caitlin, thank you for being with us. What do we know about this latest push by Congress to get more transparency when it comes to the Epstein case?
Well, this is something that leadership up here on Capitol Hill had hoped would die down on the Republican side during the recess, and it really didn't. In fact, it intensified. And yesterday, a bipartisan push to gather signatures for a discharge petition.
The discharge petition is the thing.
A discharge petition, essentially you have to get 218 signatures, and then that would force a vote on the House floor, and in this case to vote to release.
And we have 2 special elections this coming Tuesday that may actually swing it in favor of that vote.
All of the Epstein files. Now, what happened yesterday was the Oversight Committee released 33,000 pages of documents related to that case. They had subpoenaed the Justice Department for those documents. They got them and released them last night. Not a ton was new there, and we're still combing through them. But from the perspective of House Republican leadership, they would like that to be the avenue where this goes. And they're hoping that that will quell the calls from some members of the base for more of these documents to be released. So by this vote today, they essentially agreed that the House Oversight Committee will continue this investigation, and this is meant to deter any Republicans from signing on to that discharge petition. And the White House has also gotten involved, contacting members who may have signed that or may have been inclined to sign that petition, to say doing so would be essentially a slap in the face to the White House and Donald Trump, and that the appropriate avenue, in their view, is to go through the Oversight Committee here. That is what the message is coming, and as you just saw, it passed on the House floor.
Now, Caitlin, you mentioned there wasn't really anything new in this 34,000-page document, so what was in it?
That's right, and we're still kind of combing through this, but a lot of this was already seen in previous dumps of information. The bottom line here is that the Oversight Committee would like to keep going with this, and they are ready to subpoena for more documents. So that will be the place to look for additional information coming out. But the Oversight Committee, of course, is chaired by Republicans. Democrats are arguing that it will kind of be mired in politics, and it won't be able to gather all of the information, all of the documents out there, and their argument is that the White House could be in charge of releasing those. So still a lot of partisan politics being played here, and I should note also that that Democrats have really seized a political opening. Notably, they didn't call for this before Trump was in office. This was something that kind of festered on the right. But Democrats have certainly seized this opportunity and are looking for any sort of political advantage, and are trying to see it through this one.
Caitlin Huey-Burns, thank you so much.
I've been talking about Epstein since Obama was president, ma'am. So one of the Epstein victims, and we're going to hear more from them here in a second. They were on, they had a fantastic segment on Democracy Now! That cut up the best of their speeches. You got a little taste of it in the reporting from CBS, I think. Today, James O'Keefe dropping some of his fine journalism that seems to expose what Trump's DOJ is doing to cover up the Epstein files. So one of the victims talked about her needing to be in a maximum security prison. This is the acting deputy chief, Joseph Schnitt.
They visited that Maxwell person.
Yeah.
And also involved.
She got transferred to a minimum security prison too recently, which is against BOP policy because she's a convicted sex offender, and they're not supposed to get minimum security prisons, which is an interesting detail because she's getting a benefit, which means they're offering her something to keep it on shut.
They visited that Maxwell person.
Yeah.
The last thing he said was they are offering something to keep her mouth shut. He also had something spicy to say about her testimony towards certain individuals.
But those files do exist.
Yeah, thousands and thousands of pages of files. They'll redact every Republican or conservative person in those files, leave all the liberal, Democratic people in those files.
But those files do exist.
Yeah, thousands and thousands of pages of files. They'll redact every Republican or conservative person in those files, leave all the liberal, Democratic people in those.
They'll redact every Republican or conservative and leave all the liberal Democratic people in those files. That's what the acting deputy chief, the Office of Enforcement of Operations at the DOJ said. They've been working at it since April, indeed. 1,000 FBI agents were reassigned. Yesterday during the hearings, it got heated between Jared Moskowitz
from Florida is recognized
and Nigel Farage.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Farage, thanks for being here, coming across the pond. I'm sorry to hear your...
The fuck? Markov. I'm having a
You're leaving the hearing early.
A dandy of a time with this browser tonight.
I'm leaving the hearing early, but I do have other things to do. Yes.
Oh, where are you going?
I'm so sorry about that.
It's okay. Where are you going?
It's not lunch, I promise you.
It's not lunch. You're not going to have lunch.
I don't think so, no.
No lunch.
Sad, isn't it?
You're meeting with the president?
I can't remember what the schedule is. It's possible.
You can't remember if you're meeting with the president.
I'm being very polite, and I'm not going to tell you what I'm doing this afternoon, but I can assure you that...
But there's the free speech hearing. You're not going to tell me what you're doing this afternoon?
Free speech is one thing, discretion's quite another, too.
Okay. All right, so you're leaving to have lunch with the president. So, Mr. Farage, I have a question. Have you heard about the Epstein thing that's going on here?
I have.
You have? What do you think about it?
I'm not going to give comment on anything happening in America. I'm here as a witness.
Perfect.
I'm here as a witness. I'm here as a witness for what is happening in the United Kingdom and in the Europe.
This is the leader of the UK's far right.
Perfect. Let me just go through it. So it's been 9 months, right, since we've been meeting in these hearings. We've not had Pam Bondi here, even though we have jurisdiction over the Department of Justice. Not Dan Bundy.
Will the gentleman yield?
Not Kash Patel. I will 100%. We'll go back and forth. Let me just do my thing.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to correct. Kash Patel's coming in I'll give you an extra 10 seconds. Kash Patel, the director of FBI, is coming in 2 weeks, and the Attorney General's coming in 4 weeks.
Fantastic. But still, we're not doing that this week. The week we're having votes on the Epstein thing. So, Pam Bondi gives the influencers, these Republican influencers, a binder. It says Part 1 of the Epstein files. Don't know if you saw it. It was quite spectacular. The Attorney General then says the Epstein list is on her desk. Then DOJ issues a memo, says there is no list. Then, do you have any questions about any of that? We've had no hearings on any of that at all. That, the list is on my desk, then there is no list. Then we gave binders to Republican influencers. This committee said no questions on any of how that transpired at the Department of Justice. Then hold on.
Well, it sounds like you're going to in the next few weeks. So that's a jolly good thing.
Mr. Farage, we can talk soon, but not yet. Okay.
Right.
So then the president comes out and says the whole thing's a hoax. He blasts his own base. He blames Barack Obama. I mean, he hasn't been president for a very long time. Republicans then in committee vote against the release in the Rules Committee. Then Republicans refuse to go back in the Rules Committee because they're getting blasted for their vote, getting crushed by their own base. Congress leaves a day early.
Blasted in the ass by the Democrats.
The Attorney General
blasted in the ass by the Republicans.
Happens to be Trump's former personal attorney. She says something favorable about the president. Miraculously, she gets transferred to a minimum security prison. The president starts talking about how he has the right to pardon her if he wanted to. The leaks to the Wall Street Journal then stop. We come back from break. We have the Massey petition. Comer does a document dump where 97% of these documents are already public. How long has he had those documents? Why hasn't he released them for the last 6 weeks? Does it the day of the vote. Then Republicans drop a non-binding resolution trying to kill the Massey discharge petition. The White House said passing the Massey discharge petition is a hostile act. Wow. That's a lot of distraction and deflection and misinformation. Wait, passing a discharge petition to release the Epstein files, the White House said would be a hostile act. Nope, we have no questions about that. But why? Why is it that we're spending so much political capital to keep this list from coming out? You think the list should come out? You think we should know the people who dealt with Mr. Epstein, Mr. Farage?
I thought I was coming to a hearing on free speech, not process.
Oh, but listen, but here's the good...
It sounds like you're discussing process.
No. Do you think the list should come out?
I have no opinion on it. I don't know at all.
So we have victims that were sexually abused by potentially people in power, and we don't know who's on the list.
I'm very happy.
Hold on, Mr. Farage. We don't know who's on the list. We don't know who's on the list. We don't know if the president is or is not. I'm not going to say he is or isn't. I'm just going to say these are weird behaviors. We don't know that there aren't other people in Congress that are on the list. Right? We have no idea. Do you think the list should come out? You think people in power should be held to account for these victims who have been sexually abused and assaulted? You think the list should come out?
I think that I'm very happy to come to a different hearing where you talk about legal process.
Okay.
But today,
Will the gentleman yield for a quick question? Were you aware that he has already called for the Epstein file to be released? It has been reported that he has called for it to be released.
Oh yeah, right here, just to refresh your memory. I happen to have this.
But that's not
How
what
random.
But that is not. Look, you can ask me if you like about
Do you agree
social
with
security
yourself?
policy.
Do you agree with yourself?
We are here.
Do you agree with yourself?
It's awkward for your lunch after this. Do you agree with yourself?
No, it isn't at all.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I'm just curious. This committee has jurisdiction over the Department of Justice.
Yeah.
Why have we allowed Comer to cover this up for the last couple of months?
As I said,
why is this committee not taking
I said 6 weeks ago that we will.
I mean, when it comes to covering up sexual abuse, Jim Jordan knows a thing or two because he helped do it at Ohio State University.
Have the FBI director in. We will have the attorney general.
Remember that Larry Nassar guy?
You can ask all. You can go through that whole list. That whole list. You can do whatever you want to do with. I got lots of questions for the FBI director, including the whistleblower who came forward and told him that Adam Schiff leaked classified information.
What?
I want to ask him about that as well as the issues you all want to ask him about. That's why he's coming, so we can ask all these questions and follow the process, as Mr. Farage just talked about.
Mr.
The
Chairman,
gentleman from Virginia.
Unanimous consent.
Unanimous consent.
I'd like to enter the political article into the record that Mr. Farage said the Epstein file should be released.
Without objection. The gentleman from Virginia is recognized.
I thank the chairman. I want to talk about
wild. I'm so glad Congress is back in session. They voted to release the files. That was Moskowitz over in the House. The Speaker of the House spoke last night. No, it's just being really slow tonight.
Joining me now to unpack all of this, NBC
Taking
News
sweet-ass time.
Julie Sirkin and NBC News national law enforcement.
Kirsten Welker's looking at me funny.
Winter, thanks to both of you for being here today. Julie, let me start with you. House Speaker Mike Johnson met
Is her name, right?
the Epstein survivors yesterday, along with Oversight Committee members.
I fucked it up, I think. Oh, my God.
Speaker's role been in this whole standoff?
Well, too often the speaker hopes for. He's again stuck in a difficult position, Kristen, as you know, he often is, because the White House in this case wants this issue to.
Did I say her name right? Is it Kirsten Welker? I'm gonna go to Google for now. I mean, there's been several cyber attacks.
this NBC News Capitol Hill correspondent Julie Serkin.
Want this Epstein matter to completely go away, and it's not going to. We saw the survivors press conference this morning, but we also, of course, have dual efforts going on in the House right under Speaker Johnson's nose. One in the Oversight Committee, where, of course, we know James Comer, as you mentioned, is pushing for those files and is slowly receiving them. But also this discharge petition, Speaker Johnson trying to get those Republicans that potentially are open to it not to sign on to it, in large part saying that this is personal between Thomas Massie, who is the top Republican in charge of that effort, but also saying the administration, look, they're already being compliant. They're turning over all of these documents. Take a listen to what he said.
They're already producing and putting out there the documents that are uncovered. The White House is in full compliance. The administration is willfully complying with the subpoenas because they want maximum transparency as well. I talked to the president himself last night about this. He says, get it out there, put it all out there. So this is going to be an ongoing effort. It will be bipartisan, which
he talked to the president about it.
And the Oversight Committee's effort, this is really important to point out, goes further than the discharge petition.
Is saying he wants transparency. He's saying the president wants transparency. I asked Leader Thune, the top Republican on the Senate side, what he's doing. And he too, Kristen, says they're all for transparency, but there's a difference between what they say and what they do. And certainly if Johnson wanted this to go forward, if he wanted to force the administration's hand, the DOJ's hand on releasing this, he could, but he doesn't. And that is why you're seeing this effort in the form of a discharge petition.
Well,
the White House is apparently lobbying hard.
Ro Khanna expressing a lot of confidence that they're going to get the 218 signatures needed for that discharge position. But as you say, Massey's got to convince some of his Republican colleagues.
They're only like 3 or 4 short.
Petition. Based on your conversations with sources, how likely is it that he can get enough Republicans to secure support for this?
Well, that's the big question, because you certainly see the emotional testimony, how difficult it is for these survivors, some of whom are speaking for the very first time, to come here, to put themselves out there like this. But what will it lead to? And certainly the answer to that question is getting those 218 signatures on the discharge petition, because even though James Comer of the Oversight Committee says, yes, look, we're continuously receiving these documents. They released 30,000, as you said, pages of them yesterday. He said today that they'll continue to get more from the DOJ. These survivors are just not buying it, and neither is Thomas Massie or Ro Khanna or Marjorie Taylor Greene, who stood with them today. I did notice one Republican in that at that press conference who did not sign on to the discharge petition. That is Victoria Spartz. I tried talking to her about this. She still seems like she's deciding what to do, but it will be an uphill road for Massie to get even 2 more Republicans, in part because some who were even open to
Russian woman,
for example, now says he's not going to sign on.
I don't think she's Russian
because the Oversight Committee is receiving these documents from DOJ. So it'll be an uphill battle for Massie. It doesn't help
She's from like a former Soviet satellite country.
Him as a thorn in the side of their efforts and the Republican leadership as a whole, as he's trying to solicit partners and friends on his side of the aisle to sign on to this.
Yeah, it's a real standoff with the president, Julie. There's no doubt about that. Tom, let me head over to you. Julie painted that full picture of what is unfolding on Capitol Hill. She talked about the 30,000 pages of documents that were released overnight.
Oh, she's Ukrainian.
What exactly is the key takeaway from those documents, Tom? Has anything new been discovered in those documents?
You know, Kristen, it was exactly what we kind of anticipated, thanks to the reporting of myself and our colleagues there next to you in our D.C. bureau, focusing on what the Justice Department would have handed over. And out of that 33,000 pages of documents, there's really only a handful of documents that we have not seen before. Most of these documents have to do with public court filings. They have to do with documents that were, you're looking at it right there, something that was docketed in the Ghislaine
66 2/3
documents that were produced as part of the original
Police
Department investigation in Florida, which was quite thorough, really kind of trying to drive state prosecutors to initially charge Epstein before Palm Beach Police and the police chief at the time contacted the FBI because they weren't so sure what Florida state prosecutors were doing with it. And then we also saw documents that were contained as part of the review into the suicide of Jeffrey Epstein at the jail. But again, all of that are materials that we've seen before. It was just a handful of documents that had to do with Epstein's travels in the years leading up to his arrest and then his death by suicide that was new. On that, though, they used exemptions that they would use if they were producing those materials to be via FOIA, so that any third-party name that was traveling with Epstein during that period, those names were redacted, Kristen.
So, Tom, one of the survivors there speaking today suggested, why not just release the files to the survivors? Is that something that's being discussed?
Yeah, do that.
Yeah, I don't think that's something that's really going to carry water, because the problem with that is that then it's a public release of information. We're technically entitled, all of us are technically entitled to it. There's no way for the Justice Department to kind of put that out there in a way that couldn't be put out by various receivers of that information in whatever fashion the receivers wanted to put it into. Certainly the victims here have advocated, we heard about it all morning long, advocated for transparency, for as many documents out there as possible. So I don't think it's something where they would be cherry-picked and given to us that way. But on the other hand, it sets a precedent for the Justice Department that would be very difficult. So there's no indication, I think, that they would just share that with them. It would also potentially be improper if they were eventually going to bring a prosecution or new information came to light. They would be prejudiced by the materials that they had already seen, even though the Justice Department says there's not even enough information to open an investigation into any potential third parties. So those are all the types of legal considerations. There was brought up today at that press conference, the amount of documents that were redacted. Well, those were redacted pursuant to court orders or court rules, or were sealed pursuant to court orders or court rules. That's not something Congress can get by. That's something that judges will have to handle, the judiciary will have to handle in these cases. So, again, more kind of roadblocks that are out there. It's going to be difficult going forward for more documents to be provided unless DOJ goes really outside of their traditional policies and practices, Kristen.
All right, Julie and Tom, great reporting. Thank you for starting us off today. We really appreciate it.
Shut up, Tom Llama.
Remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app, or watch live on our...
Where do I want to go next? Yeah, Trump talked about this. Let's get Trump's response to all the happenings on the Epstein. Is it gonna work? I went back to my other browser because it turned off all the... Here we go.
Survivors of Jeffrey Epstein speaking at a press conference on Capitol Hill. They're calling for these case files, these documents to be released. And Thomas Massey, who was sponsoring a discharge position to get the House to vote on releasing those documents, says he doesn't believe you're implicated in these files, but many of your friends and donors may be. And he says that's why the Justice Department is redacting them and slow-walking the release. Is the Justice Department protecting any friends or donors, sir?
So this is a Democrat hoax that never ends. You know, it reminds me a little of the Kennedy situation. We gave him everything over and over again.
I know,
more
Flash.
And more and more.
This can't be real life.
Nobody's ever satisfied. From what I understand, I could check, but from what I understand, thousands of pages of documents have been given.
Rocky, thank you.
Democrat hoax, because
it's
they're trying to get people to talk about something that's totally irrelevant to the success that we've had as a nation since I've been president. Even if you look at D.C. right
Welcome
now,
in, my
D.C.,
friend.
it's a totally safe zone. It's called a safe zone. That's a term. It's a term of art. It's a safe zone because it's very safe. You can walk down the street now and nothing's going to happen.
What?
No crime, no murders, no nothing. Because we had a lot of problems with certain places.
A term of art.
All run by Democrats, or for the most part, run by Democrats.
Look at his hair. What's wrong with his hair?
Epstein hoaxes get people.
I guess you could say that any day of his life, right?
Tremendous success, like ending 7 wars. I ended 7 wars. Nobody's going to talk about, because they're going to talk about the.
He ended 7 wars.
I understand that we were subpoenaed to give files, and I understand we've given thousands of pages of files, and I know that no matter what you do, it's going to keep going.
I think they did a survey, Finbox, and that they ranked him like 4th from last, I think. Because, I mean, like, Johnson was pretty good. I don't even remember. Let me look up who the other ones were in the ranking.
I think
that'd be
enough,
fun.
because I think we should talk about the greatness of our country and the success that we're having. I think we're probably having, according to what I read, even from two people in this room, we're having the most successful 8 months of any president ever. And that's what I want to talk about. That's what we should be talking about, not the Epstein hoax.
To Capitol Hill tonight, where the House Oversight Committee released files related to Jeffrey Epstein's sex trafficking.
Ryan Smith. Okay. Historical rankings of presidents of the United States. Top ranked presidents: Lincoln, FDR, Washington, and Teddy Roosevelt. Those are your top four. Your bottom four: Buchanan, Andrew Johnson, Trump, Harding. Johnson was the one that sprung to my head. So maybe next to last. No, third from last, I guess. Most surveyors consider James Buchanan, Lincoln's predecessor, the worst president for his leadership during the lead up to the Civil War. Many rank Lincoln's successor, Andrew Johnson, last for blocking civil rights for freed slaves and undermining Reconstruction. Donald Trump's first presidency is consistently polled among the bottom four and twice in last place due to breaking long-standing norms such as the peaceful transfer of power, an American precedent not broken since Washington first set it. The scandal-ridden presidency of Warren G. Harding also frequently lands in the bottom four. Hoover doesn't even make it in the bottom four. Do I think you could make a case for Hoover? Trump's smiling ass. Warlord, you weren't here for Nigel Farage. I must say, even your doofuses are far more well-spoken than our doofuses. far more well-spoken. He's actually kind of charming. Goddamn Brits. Here's Marjorie Taylor Greene responding to Trump.
White House officials, they're putting out word that signing on to this discharge petition will be a hostile act viewed by the president. What's your reaction to that?
Right. So last night I received a flurry of phone calls and text messages.
You got a flurry of phone calls.
I'd like to call out whoever that person is in the administration. They said that in such a cowardice way without saying their name. And, you know, I think everyone knows I've fought harder for President Trump for years now. And that person has their job because I fought so hard to help him get elected. And this isn't a hostile act towards the administration. The hostile act has been against these women for so many years now. The hostile act is covering up for Jeffrey Epstein.
Get him, Large.
Everyone else that's been involved in this. And that's the real hostile act. I look forward to talking with President Trump about these women that I've met. I also encouraged him already this morning that he should have these women in the Oval Office. They deserve to be there.
You spoke to him?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
And I told him I'd be happy to set that up, arranging with their attorney by sharing his phone number.
What was his reaction to that?
I haven't got an answer back on that, but I am continuing to encourage.
Say what you will about her, and I will, and I have. She's a fucking Nazi. That's why I always warn people to not be so quick to praise her for her takes on Israel, because it's because of her Jew hatred that she has the right take on Gaza. Femvox, I actually have a model. I have one that looks like Marjorie Taylor Greene that I follow on OnlyFans. I have another one that looks like Lauren Boebert. I am really fucked in the head. Really, really fucked in the head. I got one that kind of looks like Anna Paulina Luna. I've got some mommies, but none of them quite look like Joni Ernst.
Him that these are the people that deserve to be in the Oval Office, not any of Jeffrey Epstein's rich, powerful friends that allowed this to happen to them, or anyone that may have been a part of it. And I think that's important. You know, no matter who the president is, no matter who the speaker is, no matter who's in charge and who's in power, the most important thing I can do as a representative serving in the House of Representatives, I serve the American people, I serve Georgia 14, is I work for the people.
But she believes her bullshit.
Epstein's buddies or cabal.
Say what you want about Marge.
Did these horrible things, these women.
She actually stands on principles.
So I know the people at home, they want me to fight on this issue.
Signing on to this
So I'll give her that credit. Let's go. Democracy Now! Did a good cut of the best parts of, if you can call it that, a good highlight reel of the press conference from the Epstein survivors. Shelley, good evening.
Sexual predator Jeffrey Epstein held a press conference steps away from the Capitol Wednesday to share their testimonies and demand lawmakers release all government files related to the Epstein investigation. Calls for the full files to be released have continued to grow, particularly among President Trump's base. Trump campaigned on releasing the files, but has called it a distraction and a, quote, Democratic hoax since taking office. The women were joined by members of Congress who've introduced a rare bipartisan bill that would make release of the Epstein investigation files law.
In a few minutes, we'll speak with Congressmember Ro Khanna, who co-sponsored the bill, and Lauren Hirsch of World Without Exploitation, which helped organize the survivors who spoke out Wednesday. But first, the voices of survivors.
My name is Marina Lacerda. I was minor victim 1 in federal indictment of Jeffrey Epstein in New York in 2019. I was one of dozens of girls that I personally know who were forced into Jeffrey's mansion on 9 East 71 Street in New York City when we were just kids. Today is the first time that I ever speak publicly about what happened to me. I never thought that I would find myself here. The only reason that I am here is because it feels like the people who matter in this country finally care about what we have to say. As an immigrant from Brazil, I feel empowered knowing that the little girl struggling to get by at 14 and 15 years old finally has a voice. For the first time, I feel like I matter as an American. I was only 14 years old when I met Jeffrey. It was the summer of high school. I was working 3 jobs to try to support my mom and my sister when a friend of mine in the neighborhood told me that I could make $300 to give an older guy a massage. It went from a dream job to the worst nightmare. Jeffrey assistant Leslie Groff would call me and tell me that I needed to be at the house so often that I ended up dropping out of high school before 9th grade. And I never went back.
Before 9th grade?
From 14 to 17 years old, I went and worked for Jeffrey instead of receiving an education. Every day I hoped that he would offer me a real job as one of his assistants or something important. I would finally have made it big, as, like we say, the American dream. That day never came. I had no way out. I was, until he finally told me that I was too old. There are many pieces of my story that I can't remember, no matter how hard I try. The constant state of wonder causes me so much fear and so much confusion. My therapist says that my brain is just trying to protect itself. But it's so hard to begin to heal knowing that there are people out there who know more about my abuse than I do. The worst part is that the government is still in possession right now of the documents and information about that could help me remember and get over all of this maybe and help me heal. They have documents with my name on them that were confiscated from Jeffrey Epstein's house and could help me put the pieces of my own life back together.
My name is Haley Robson.
I was a 16-year-old high school student athlete who made good grades and had high aspirations for college when I was recruited and asked by a classmate of mine alongside with a 20-year-old male if I wanted to give an old rich guy a massage. But what high school girl would not want to do that? That day changed my life forever. And when I got into the massage room, Jeffrey Epstein...
What high school girl wouldn't want to do that? I would think the majority, but maybe I'm wrong. Ladies in the chat, let me know if you were offered in high school to give an old rich guy a massage, would you want to do it? I mean, I'm sure I can imagine some would, but not all of them.
Undressed and asked me to do things to him. My eyes welled up with tears, and I have never been more scared in my life.
I'm a degen, and even
he paid me
wouldn't say everybody.
And requested in exchange that I bring a girl each time to make another $200. I told him I did not want to do that, and then he gave me an ultimatum. Either you come here and massage me when I call you, or you bring me friends of yours to massage, and I will give you $200 per girl for each time she comes. I felt and hoped to never hear from him again, but he called me every day. He was so wealthy and powerful, and he would not let me go. I felt I had no choice. If I disobeyed him, I knew something bad would happen. So knowing I think
we're talking late 90s, early 2000s.
Sorry. I started to bring him other girls from my high school, and he paid me $200 for bringing them. I just hoped each time it would be the last time. One day, the stepmom of one of the girls brought him and called the police on Jeffrey Epstein. The police then called me in for questioning. I had told them the truth despite the fact that I was a teenager and a minor, and I was able to tell the police the names of all the other victims. The police treated me like a criminal. I had, by this time, had turned 18. I had been with Jeffrey since I was 16 and for 2 years. So they had told me So they told me I was going to be arrested. My name was then distributed to the press as a co-conspirator of my abuser, who I detested. My entire world was crashing in around me, and I started being threatened and bullied, till this day still receiving death threats.
My name is Shantae Davies, and I'm here before you today.
It was $200 extra per girl that he brought. That wasn't the base pay.
Trauma and betrayal at the hands of Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein, and the people who enabled them, and a government that for far too long refused to help. I was just one of the many young women trapped in his orbit. I was even taken on a trip to Africa with former President Bill Clinton and other notable figures. In those moments, I realized how powerless I was. If I spoke out, who would believe me? Who would protect me? Epstein himself was the most powerful leader of our country. Epstein surrounded himself, with the most powerful leaders of our country and the world. He abused not only me, but countless others, and everyone seemed to look away. The truth is, Epstein had a free pass. He bragged about his powerful friends, including our current president, Donald Trump. It was his biggest brag, actually. And while what I endured will haunt me forever, I live every day with PTSD. I live as a mother trying to raise my child while distrusting a world that has betrayed me. This kind of trauma never leaves you. It breaks families apart. It shapes the way we see everyone around us. But one thing is certain, unless we learn from this history, monsters like Epstein will rise again. There are files, government files, that hold the truth about Epstein, who he knew, who owed him, who protected him, and why he was allowed to operate for so long without consequence. Why was Maxwell the only one held accountable when so many others played a role? Why does the government hide this information from the public? This secrecy is not protection, it's complicity. And as long as the truth is buried, justice will remain out of reach.
Prince Andrew.
That is why this bill matters. Passing it will, bless you, ensure that the suffering of survivors is not in vain. Passing it will bring accountability, transparency, and prevention. It will help protect the next generation of predators who seek to place themselves above the law through wealth, influence, and connections. This is not just my story. It is about every survivor who carries invisible scars. It's about the weight we live with daily. It is about the families broken and the futures stolen. So I ask you, President Trump and members of Congress, Why do we continue to cover up sexual abuse and assault? Who are we covering for?
Trump.
The public know the truth. We cannot heal without justice. We cannot
predominantly Trump
if we refuse to confront the past.
Those were some of the Epstein survivors who spoke out Wednesday in a news conference outside the Capitol. They also
Oh, hey, I tell you good evening. I still can't believe this fucking Trump responding to our attack on a Venezuelan vessel that he says was a drug ship.
Can you give us a sense of what the U.S. policy or what you're trying to achieve with the aircraft carriers, or the boats, I should say, in near Venezuela, and also the boat that you mentioned yesterday where 11 people were killed? What was found on that boat, and why were the men killed instead of taken into
On the boat, you had massive amounts of drugs. We have tapes of them speaking. It was massive amounts of drugs coming into our country to kill a lot of people. And everybody fully understands that. In fact, you see it. You see the bags of drugs all over the boat. And they were hit. Obviously, they won't be doing it again. And I think a lot of other people won't be doing it again when they watch that tape. They're going to say, let's not do this. We have to protect our country, and we're going to. Venezuela's been a very bad actor. They've been, as you know, they've been sending millions of people into our country, many of them Tren de Aragua, some of the worst gangs, some of the worst people anywhere in the world in terms of gangs. And we had some in Washington, D.C. We took care of them very quickly, but they're out of here. They've gone.
The Hamas boat.
Venezuela's been very
I got the video. You got to see the boat.
And sending some of the worst criminals anywhere in the world into our country. But think of it. Opened up prisons, drug dealers, drug lords, everything coming out of Venezuela. They said, and we said, we're not going to put up with it anymore. So Venezuela's been one of the worst actors in the whole group, and we have a group of pretty bad actors.
Are you wanting?
We need more drugs, more drug traffickers. I'm pro-drug.
In from President Trump, he did say earlier today that the U.S. carried out a strike in the southern Caribbean against a drug-carrying vessel that departed from Venezuela. The president later posting this video that you're seeing on Truth Social, along with a post saying earlier this morning, on my orders, U.S. military forces conducted a kinetic strike against positively identified Tren de Aragua narco-terrorists in the Southcom area of responsibility. TDA is a designated foreign terrorist organization
like a fishing vessel
under
to
the
me.
Control of Nicolas Maduro,
or a
for
recreational vessel,
drug trafficking, sex trafficking, and acts of violence and terror across the U.S. and Western Hemisphere. The strike occurred while the terrorists were at sea in international waters, transporting illegal narcotics heading to the U.S. The strike resulted in 11 terrorists killed in action. No
He's saying terrorists
in the strike. Please let this serve as notice to anybody even thinking about bringing drugs into the
I guess
US.
he's reading the White House.
Thank you for your attention to this matter.
Yes, totally Trump. Thank you for your attention to this. That's probably Stephen Miller, actually, when it says thank you for your attention to this matter.
Last week, 7 people were killed in Chicago, a place which is probably your number one place. I hate to say it.
Yeah, let the polls say.
And we got to keep it safe. But 7 people were killed. The week before that, 5 people were killed, and 21 people were shot. This is in 3 weeks. So in 3 weeks, they lost almost 35 people were killed. It could have been stopped. If you look at Washington, D.C., 3 weeks ago, it was
God, all that gaudy gold.
And now it's considered a totally safe zone. Restaurants are open. They're bustling. Restaurants, you have to see, restaurants were dying. Nobody wanted to go out. They didn't want to be attacked. They didn't want to be mugged. They didn't want to be attacked even in the restaurant. And you take a look at what's happened. Friends of mine that haven't gone to a restaurant in 4 years, one of them went out 5 times in the last 2 weeks to a restaurant with his family. They feel totally safe. Washington, D.C. is a totally safe city. You're not reporting any crime because there is none. They said crime is down 87%, and I said, no, it's not. It's down 100%. We have a great thing going. I could do that with Chicago. We could do that with New York. We could do it with Los Angeles. So we're making a determination now.
Police state, woo!
We go to a place like New Orleans, where we have a great governor, Jeff Landry, who wants us to come in and straighten out a very nice section of this country that's become quite tough, quite bad. So we're going to be going to maybe Louisiana, and you have New Orleans, which has a crime problem. We'll straighten that out in about 2 weeks. It'll take us 2 weeks, easier than D.C. But we could straighten out Chicago. All they have to do is ask us.
Pritzker saying that they have it on good authority that Trump is planning on sending in troops this weekend. A federal appeals court has blocked the order from like a week ago that shut down Alligator Alcatraz. In response to the ruling, Governor Ron DeSantis posted on X that the mission will continue. A federal appeals panel in Atlanta on Thursday blocked a judge's ruling requiring state and federal agencies to shut down the Alligator Alcatraz Immigration Detention Center. The 11th Circuit U.S. Court of Appeals judges in the split decision said Florida and federal officials will suffer irreparable harm absent a stay, and that dismantling the facility will come at a significant cost to the state. Oh my God. It is entirely unclear to us, moreover, how the district court concluded that it could order the proactive dismantling of the facility by way of a mandatory preliminary injunction. This is according to Judge Barbara Lagoa, who Governor Ron DeSantis appointed to the Florida Supreme Court in 2019, who wrote for the 2-1 majority. But Judge Alberto Jordan wrote in dissent that the majority ignores the irreparable harm imposed on the environmental groups in the case. Conservatives cheered the decision in Florida and Washington as a victory for Trump-era effort against the illegal immigration. In response to the ruling, DeSantis posted on X that the mission will continue. The media was wrong, he wrote. The leftist judge has been overturned. Florida will keep leading the way. I think I actually have a DeSantis clip. Meatball Run.
News on immigration enforcement. The media was giddy that somehow Alligator Alcatraz was, quote, shutting down. Now, we told them that that wasn't true. There have been illegal aliens continuing to be there and being removed and returned to their home country. But
listen, you're a fascist piece of shit, Ron DeSantis, and you can put me in Alligator Alcatraz. Fucking fascist. Dare you.
They ran with the narrative because some leftist judge ruled implausibly that somehow Florida wasn't allowed to use our own property to help the federal government in this important mission because they didn't do an environmental impact statement. Well, we said we would fight that. We said the mission would continue. And I'm pleased to say that the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals has just stayed that ruling and stayed the case. So Alligator Alcatraz is, in fact, like we've always said, open for business. The mission continues, and we're going to continue leading the way when it comes to immigration enforcement. The mission continues.
I was told Walk is dead. That's the title of the South Park episode we're going to be watching after the Troll Patrol. Walk is dead. This is the name of the episode. Just light one up, tip one back. Thank you for complimenting me on the production. That is, you know, what I pride myself in. Opal Man, Opal, welcome. I pride myself on my production. Light one up, tip one back. Let's get Willie Nelson high.
You're Willie Nelson high. You're smoking some of the best dope God ever put breath in.
It's what I actually do for a living. I'm an audio video technician. Ron DeSantis looks fucking stupid over here. I've had him just staring at me this whole time. So I've been hitting the bowl. Looking like a dumb fuck. Meatball Ron. Some people thought he was going to be president. Oh, my bandana? Gonna do black or red? What's the combo thing? I have no idea what you're doing with that. I know Twitch introduced some new thing. I have no idea what's going on right now. Oh, did you guys see the clip? Did you guys see the clip of them throwing shit out? I might have red right here. Ooh, I got red right here behind the monitor. I don't have to go get in my suitcase. Oh, you've been paying me something? I had no idea. Thank you, I appreciate it. Is it like bits of some sort?
Behind that lawsuit, that particular, are from foreign countries. I might add.
There's a video that is circulating online now of the White House where a window is open.
If you bit me right now,
and somebody,
this sounds kind of kinky. You get like some combo.
No, that's probably AI generated.
Probably AI generated.
Open the windows. You know why? They're all heavily armored and bulletproof.
So that's a fake video.
Well, it's got to be, because I know every window up there. The last place I'd be doing it is that, because there's cameras all over the place, right? Including yours. No, but every window, I've never seen a window that's... In fact, my wife was complaining about it the other day. She said, love to have a little fresh air come in, but
you know he's lying. She doesn't live there.
Number one, they're sealed, and number two, each window weighs about 600 pounds. You have to be pretty strong to open them up. No, that has to be... Where was the window? Let me see.
The doozy's showing him the video. Hold on. Do I have the video? I thought they'd show it on the clip.
It looks like this is on the 15th Street side, I think. Yeah. So right here.
Yeah, those windows are sealed. Those windows are all sealed. You can't open them.
You were saying regarding the federal...
It's the kind of thing they do. And one of the problems we have with AI, it's both good and bad. If something happens really bad, just blame AI. But also they create things, you know. It works both ways.
Okay, you guys tell me, is this AI? You get to see it for yourself. I haven't watched it, actually. So let's everybody judge. I don't know what the music is. Avalon, thank you for the bits. I guess it comboed it, so it's like 4 bits total. I don't know. Did I fall for an AI? Is this the real video? This is the same video. It does kind of look fake. That's the fucking video. What do you guys think? Does nobody have an opinion? It looks like an arm. I don't believe him that the windows don't open. If Trump calls it fake, it has to be real. Probably Flo. Welcome in. Very true. If you're doing work, if you're replacing the windows or some shit. Very weird. Very weird. Okay, let's get to RFK Jr. 1,000 current 1,000 current and former HHS employees have signed on to a petition calling on RFK Jr. to resign.
Now, over 1,000 current and former Health and Human Services employees are calling for Robert F. Kennedy's resignation. The group sent a letter to Congress saying the leadership of the Secretary of Health and Human Services has, quote, put the health of all Americans at risk. They also claim his vaccine policies are dangerous. Democrats say he needs to go. Republicans are standing by him.
We know what scientists are saying. We know what the health experts are saying. And it's not what is coming out of Secretary Kennedy's policies.
This is about how we protect the children of the United States of America. And there's allegations that that health is being endangered.
Kennedy is said to...
That was Senator Bill Cassidy, who I have a hell of a lot of disagreements with, but is at least sane when it comes to medical issues. And now watch his masterful questioning of RFK earlier today. This is a classic. And it even starts off, look at the audacity he's sitting in that chair with.
And I'm approaching this as a doctor, not as a senator. I am concerned about children's health, seniors' health, all of our health. And I applaud you for joining the president in a call for radical transparency. Thank you for that. I said yesterday, I believe it, that President Trump deserves a Nobel Prize for Operation Warp Speed. If he had been President Obama, he would have gotten it. But because of Operation Warp Speed, forcing the federal government to come to a vaccine development within 10 months when others said it couldn't be done, we saved millions of lives globally, trillions of dollars, we reopened economies, an incredible accomplishment. Mr. Secretary, do you agree with me that the president deserves a Nobel Prize for Operation Warp Speed?
Yeah, absolutely, Senator. That was phenomenal.
Let me ask you, but you just told Senator Bennett that the COVID vaccine killed more people than COVID.
Wait,
that was a
got him.
Say that.
Okay, then let me ask, because you also were
Senator, I just want to make clear, I did not say that.
We'll check the record. That's a question of fact. You also said that you were also, as lead attorney for the Children's Health Defense, you engaged in multiple lawsuits attempting to restrict access to the COVID vaccine. Again, it surprises me that you think so highly of Operation Warp Speed when, as an attorney, you attempted to restrict access. Well, let me ask.
I'm happy to explain why.
I have 3 minutes and 30 seconds left.
Fantastic job, Senator Cassidy. who most of the time I fucking hate. Why is tonight? Why is it tonight we're agreeing with all these Republicans? Let's bring in a couple of progressive heavyweights. The question RFK. Here is first Senator Elizabeth Warren.
Secretary of Health and Human Services. Mr. Kennedy, you said, quote, if vaccines are working for somebody, I'm not going to take them away. No exceptions, no ifs, ands, or buts. You would not take away vaccines from anyone who wanted them. Then last week, you announced that the COVID-19 vaccine is no longer approved for healthy people under the age of 65. In announcing the change, you said the vaccine will be available for anyone who wants it. Now, obviously, both things cannot be true at the same moment. So let's clear this up right now, Secretary Kennedy. Will you tell America that all adults and all children over 6 months of age are eligible to get a
He's still snarling.
booster at their local pharmacy?
You hear him?
Anybody can get the booster.
I'm sorry?
Anybody can get it, Senator.
Anybody. So you're saying that is now the official rule of HHS. Anybody is eligible to get a booster by just walking into the pharmacy.
It's not recommended for healthy people.
No. If you don't recommend, then the consequence of that in many states is that you can't walk into a pharmacy and get one. It means insurance companies don't have to cover the $200 or so cost. As Senator Dr. Cassidy said, you are effectively denying people vaccines.
We're not going to recommend a product for which there's no clinical data for that indication. Is that what I should be doing?
What you should be doing is honoring your promise that you made when you were looking to get confirmed in this job.
You're going like this.
And that is, you promised that you would not take away vaccines from anyone who wanted them. You just changed the classification of the COVID vaccine.
I'm not taking them away from people, Senator.
It takes it away if you can't get it from your pharmacist.
Well, most Americans are going to be able to get it from their pharmacy for free. Most Americans will be able to get it from their pharmacy for free.
The question is everyone who wants it. That was your promise.
No, I didn't. I never promised that I was going to recommend products with which there is no indication.
When you said...
And I know you've taken $855,000 from pharmaceutical companies, Senator.
Did you hold up a big sign saying that you were lying when you said that? Because you are the one who said you would not take them away. Now, Senator Kennedy,
I'm not taking them away from anybody.
Secretary,
you want me to indicate a product for which there is no clinical data?
Senator,
is that what you want?
Secretary Kennedy, you said you wouldn't, and now you did.
I'm not taking them away. Everybody can get access to them.
No, they can't walk into a pharmacy the way they could last month and get access.
It depends on the state. It depends on the states.
A year ago,
but they can still get it. Everybody can get it. Everybody can get it, Senator.
So look, let's move on. You clearly are taking away vaccines. I've seen the list for what's coming up next, and that is the agenda for the next CDC vaccine panel. And first up is ratifying your COVID actions. Second is hepatitis B is on the agenda. So should Americans expect you to take away hepatitis vaccine access as well, even though you promised not to?
As I said, I'm not taking vaccines away from anybody.
Okay, same answer, right? You're just going to deny that when people can't get access, that you're not taking it away. Then let me ask you, is that the same game you're going to play with me?
You want me to recommend every product in the world?
No,
so that without any clinical trial data.
Through on your promises.
Yeah, my promise was to give.
A month ago, we could get COVID vaccines by just walking.
You can still get COVID vaccines, Senator.
You are taking that away.
No, you are still. You can still get the COVID vaccines, and Medicare will still pay for them, and Medicaid will still pay for them.
Tell the head of the CDC that if she refused to sign off on your changes to the childhood vaccine schedule, that she had to resign.
No, I told her that she had to resign because I asked her, are you a trustworthy person? And she said no. So if you had an employee who told you you were trustworthy, would you ask them to resign, Senator?
So I'm sorry, but this is not what she has said publicly. She has said
I'm not surprised about that.
So you're saying she's lying?
Yes. Every conversation I had with her, there were
let me get
witnesses.
this straight. This is the same person that less than a month earlier, you stood next to her and described her as unimpeachable. And you had full confidence in her, and that you had full confidence in her scientific credentials. And in a month, she became a liar?
Yeah, you should ask her what changed. And by the way, a month ago, you were voting against her. Oh, because you thought she was either incompetent, ineligible, or unsuited to the task.
I voted against her because I
you.
was afraid she was going to bend the knee to you and Donald Trump. And it looks like she didn't bend the knee, so you fired her. Look, you are putting America's babies' health at risk, America's seniors' health at risk, all Americans' health at risk, and you should resign.
Senator Sanders.
Yes.
Just want to pick up on Senator Warren's point. Are you telling us that the former head of CDC went to you, you asked her, are you a trustworthy person? And she said, no, I am not a trustworthy person?
She didn't say, no, I'm not a trustworthy person. She said, no. I'm
Wow.
giving a quote. And I asked her,
One second, and you're also repeating now that she is a liar, correct? What she wrote in the Wall Street Journal.
if she wrote that I fired her because she refused to sign on in advance for the ACIP committee, no, that's not accurate.
All right, so you're calling her a liar, and I look forward to her coming before the Help Committee, maybe this committee as well. All right, Mr. Secretary, I've got a...
And he coughs right after.
Appreciate brevity in answering it. So-called beautiful bill.
Don't die on us, Bernie.
Million Americans off of health care, substantially raised premiums, and is going to have a terrible impact on nursing homes, community health centers, rural hospitals all over America. Very briefly, is that really making America healthy again?
It's going to have it's going to be the biggest infusion of federal dollars into rural health care.
Yeah, Lenny, I don't blame you.
Yeah, you know why? Because you're cutting $150 billion for rural hospitals. You're putting $50 billion back. That's not an infusion. That's a loss of $100 billion. All right, next question.
Insult to trolls, Byronic.
I don't usually agree with, called COVID vaccines, quote, one of the greatest miracles in the history of modern day medicine that saved tens of millions of lives worldwide. Scientific community agrees with Trump. Lancet study found that it prevented almost 20 million deaths during their first year of use. Secretary Kennedy, are President Trump and the medical community right, or do you still believe that the COVID vaccine was, quote, the deadliest vaccine ever made?
No, first of all, I didn't say that. Oh, I said that in terms of affairs reports a while ago. I said
I'm definitely a garbage troll. Come on.
Nobel Prize.
So who's right? Is Trump in the medical community right, or are you right?
President Trump did an extraordinary piece of leadership.
Is he right or wrong? Did COVID save millions of lives?
Did COVID save millions of lives?
He got Americans back to work. At that time, that particular vaccine was perfectly matched to the virus that was circulating then. And I have no idea how many lives it saved, but it saved quite a few.
You know, what I find a little bit weird in this discussion, I'm hearing it over and over again this morning, Mr. Chairman, is we've got the entire medical community on one side. You got the AMA representing hundreds of thousands of doctors, the American Academy of Pediatrics, the American Public Health Association. All of these organizations are telling us that COVID vaccine and vaccines in general are safe and effective. You are casting doubt on that. Who are who are the organizations that are agreeing with you?
Yeah.
Casting aspersions on vaccines.
The primary advisors are Marty McCary, Jay Bhattacharya.
Who?
Dr. Oz.
Dr. Oz! Oh my God, he cited Dr. Oz! Yes, yes. Who's Botticelli? Danny Botafuco? Is that who he meant?
Kerry, Jay Bhattacharya, Dr. Oz, Vinay Prasad.
So you got a few doctors who agree with you, and I'm giving you the
Not
name.
a few doctors. What you're talking about is there's a big difference, Senator, between established science and the scientific establishment, which has been co-opted by the pharmaceutical.
Hold on. So you're telling the American people that the American Medical Association, representing hundreds.
Oh, was I muted? I'm sorry. Jay Bhattacharya was the professor of medicine, economics, and health research policy at Stanford. He was in the economics field, not the medical field. The economics of medicine.
Thousands of people have been co-opted, and that they should not trust their doctors.
And I'm
the
telling
American
you,
Academy of Pediatrics, the American. And by the way, just for the record, every single Republican, I don't mean to be political here, Mr. Chairman, has received PAC money from the pharmaceutical industry. Are they all corrupt as well?
And I'm telling you, the American Heart Association has been co-opted by the food
Everybody
industry.
but you, Senator. But you know what? When you ran for president, we have a corrupt campaign finance system. Maybe you will agree with me on that. Okay, you were already president, you got $1 billion behind it. You received $300,000 from people, not from the industry, people in it, as I did, from individuals. You corrupt. President Trump got $3 million. Every Republican got corporate PAC money for the pharmaceutical industry. Democrats as well. Everybody is corrupt, but you? Is that what we're looking at? I don't think so. And I think the issue now...
I think Dr. Oz would say that RFK Jr. is kicking authority in the balls.
He's kicking authority in the balls.
Dr. Oz.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I think you do know what I'm talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about.
The issue is every time anyone disagrees with you...
Are you saying the pharmaceutical industry was supporting my presidential campaign?
I'm saying,
I don't think so.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that the pharmaceutical industry is a greedy institution which is charging us the highest prices in the world. They are pervasive. But to suggest that every institution, the AMA, the pediatrics people, is corrupt because they disagree with you is an insult to the American people.
Listen, people disagree with me all the time. I have arguments.
I trust the AMA.
Heated arguments every day with Jay Bhattacharya, with Marty McCary, with Dr. Oz.
I did.
I'm giving the names of a few people. I have given you the names of organizations representing hundreds of thousands of doctors and scientists. I yield, Mr. President.
Senator Tillis. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Secretary Kennedy, thank you for being here.
This next clip also a good one. Tabooba. What a fucking name. What a stupid name. Welcome in. Welcome in. This is Senator Lapahunza.
Let me ask you another question. How much are Medicare
Lapahunza Warren
expected to pay for prescription drug coverage next year?
I think that is in debate right now.
Let me tell you.
Are you talking about the
They are going to pay $15 more than last year, up to $50 a month. Now let me have a question for you on Part B. How much are Medicare?
This is Feinstein's replacement. Lapahunza Warren.
Let me ask you another question. How much are Medicare Part D enrollees expected to pay for prescription drug coverage next year?
I think that is in debate right now.
Let me tell you.
Are you talking about the
They are going to pay $15 more than last year, up to $50 a month. Now let me have a question for you on Part B. How much are Medicare Part B premiums expected to increase next year?
He has no idea.
I don't know. I talked to Dr. Oz
that is about,
I think it's
they're supposed to increase about
16%.
11.6% or $21.50 more each month. And again, Last time we were before me, you couldn't answer the questions of the very agency and the authority that you have to address these issues. Let me ask you another question.
He apparently never talked to the CDC. Not once communicated with the CDC during his time. In what, 6 months? That's insane. Now, J.D. Vance had some strong words about the questioning of RFK Jr. Vice President Vance fired back at senators criticizing Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. When I see all these senators trying to lecture and gotcha Bobby Kennedy today, all I can think is, you all support off-label, untested, and irreversible hormonal therapies for children, mutilating our kids and enriching Big Pharma. You're full of shit and everyone knows it. So he pulled a what is a woman? RFK completely destroyed. And it wasn't just Democrats. You saw Bill Cassidy, Senator Cassidy, absolutely taking him to task. He sure did growl a lot. While we're on the topic of vaccines, Florida is going to get people fucking killed.
Is now moving to eliminate all vaccine mandates. The governor and Surgeon General announcing that major health news from right here in Valrico. This is 10 Tampa Bay News at 5. Great to have you with us. I'm Courtney Robinson.
And I'm Emerald Morrow. Tonight, some pediatric doctors and state Democrats are calling the news a potential public health disaster. 10 Tampa Bay News reporter Kristen Barbarisi is in studio with reasoning and reaction. Hey, Kristen.
Hey, yeah, that's right. This proposal would get rid of all of Florida's health vaccine mandates, and already this is sparking some criticism.
We have some rules.
This is Dr. Lapido, and he is a dumbfucko.
That we promulgated, not me, predecessors, that include, a handful, maybe a half a dozen vaccines that are mandated in Florida. So those are going to be gone for sure.
On Wednesday, Florida Surgeon General Joseph Ladapo said he plans to work with lawmakers to repeal vaccine requirements.
Who am I as a man standing here now to tell you what you should put in your body?
Governor Ron DeSantis supports the idea.
I think about something like, a newborn baby, do they need that hepatitis shot? What's the rationale for it?
According to the Centers for Disease Control, by 2030, measles vaccinations could save nearly 19 million lives, and hepatitis B vaccination could save 14 million. The CDC estimates childhood vaccines prevent about 4 million deaths worldwide each year.
These are vaccines that have been with us for 60 years. They've been proven to be safe. They've been proven to be effective. This is bad news for the state. This is very dangerous.
Infectious disease experts warn rolling back school vaccine mandates could put children at risk.
By taking away these mandates, we're not just not protecting the kids that are getting vaccinated, we're protecting the kids that can't get vaccinated for medical reasons.
Shortly after the announcement, the American Academy of Pediatrics criticized the decision, saying close contact with other kids makes it easy for contagious diseases to spread quickly. That's why most schools require routine childhood immunizations. Currently, the Florida Department of Health requires K-12 students to receive 6 vaccinations. Ladapo did not say when any new rules might take effect. Today, the governor also announced Florida's new Make America Healthy Again Commission led by First Lady. He says it will mirror the federal board led by Health and Human Services Director Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
You know what? Speaking of schools, let's I forgot all about this. Let's do the new curriculum for teachers. Did you guys know that PragerU is going to start setting the curriculum in our schools? Oh, I love that Warlord's still here. This is the teacher qualification test, inspired by Oklahoma's America First teacher test. This assessment equips educators to counter the harmful effects of state-mandated PRISM trainings, like those required in California, that undermine the quality of our education system. We are going to take the PragerU teacher qualification test. It's a critical tool to help restore the integrity, responsibility. They ain't got no integrity. And the truth to the teaching profession at a time when schools are being used to push radical agendas, from gender ideology to anti-American narratives. This test helps direct and support educators who are committed to teaching students the foundational values that have made America great. Let's take the test. Oh no, it requires like registration. No. Well, oh, hold on. I mean, I've got a public email I use for the show. 917-830-4359. That's the number I use for the show. My freaking address at gmail.com. Perfect. Oh my God, there's no. Seven. Up your butt. Apartment 89. Palo Alto. California. 90210. Bangladesh. Okay, here we go. We are taking the test. According to the Supreme Court cases Meyer versus Nebraska and Pierce versus Society of Sisters, who has the ultimate right to direct a child's education? What? I mean, it's the parents. I don't even know those court cases. What is the fundamental biological distinction between males and females? What? It'd be personal preference. No, it's personal preference. Oh my God, they're going to make me do the incorrect answer. How is a child's biological sex typically identified? I can't believe these are the questions. Holy shit. Online registration. Which chromosome pair determines biological sex in human? The XXXY, which there are at least 6-7 different combinations of. What is the distinction between male and female? It's all focused on gender. Why is the distinction between male and female considered important in areas like sports and privacy? Kinda, yeah. It's supposed to be a legitimate educational tool. Should teachers be allowed to express their own political viewpoints in the classroom in order to persuade the students to adopt their point of view? Yes, sometimes. Bullshit. Why did the Supreme Court rule in 2020? What did the Supreme Court rule in 2025 case Muhammad versus Taylor Swift? I don't even know. What? Gender affirming medical procedures are allowed in. This is question number 7. What are the first 3 words of the Constitution? We the people. Took me a second. I had to think because it's always like a trick. Like which one's the Declaration, which one's the Constitution? Why is freedom of religion important to America's identity? Makes Christianity the national religion. Oh, I figured that's what they wanted. That's not right. Protects religion from government control. That's correct. What are the 2 parts of the U.S. Congress? The Senate and the House of Representatives. Now that's an actual question. That's the first actual question on this thing. How many total U.S. senators are there? There's 100. That's the kind of shit I was expecting from the beginning. I didn't expect it to be fucking 10 goddamn. It won't let me do anything but the right answer. Curiouser. Why did some states have more representatives than others? Representatives allotted by population. What is the primary responsibility of the president's cabinet? To advise the president. Who signs bills? This is just basic civics. Who signs bill into laws? The president. What is the highest court in the United States? The Supreme Court. In the United States, which of the following is... So they did like 10 questions about gender and then did the fucking easiest goddamn civics questions you could do for the rest of it. Such a lazy fucking thing. In the United States, which of the following is a responsibility reserved only for citizens? Had to think because all the other things like, oh, a non-citizen can do those things. Which of the following are explicitly listed in the Bill of Rights? Reproductive rights and health care. Oh. Freedom of speech and religion. What right does the Second Amendment protect? The right to bear arms. What is the supreme law of the United States? The Constitution. I'm really bored. Do you guys want me to keep going? Who wrote the first draft of the Declaration of Independence? That's Jefferson. When was the Declaration of Independence adopted? Is it 1776? Because like it was ratified like 2 years later or some shit. Adopted, ratified, yada yada. What was the primary reason the colonists fought the British? I guess they're gonna say it's not, Curiouser. It is the education teacher qualification test. This is to see if you are qualified to be a teacher. You have to pass this. This is what you're gonna have to pass to be a teacher. It wasn't to resist taxation without representation, but sure. Who were the first 3 U.S. presidents? Washington, Adams, Jefferson. Who was called the father of our country? I think that's stupid. What did the Emancipation Proclamation do? Oh my God, that reminds me. Have you seen the scene in Andy Griffith where the Emancipation Proclamation was a proclamation that emancipated. Was that Andy Griffith or was that the Ghost of Mr. Chicken? Ended slavery. I was wondering. I was like, is it a trick question? Was Abraham Lincoln's primary reason for waging the Civil War to preserve the Union? People will say it was to end slavery. It was not. He actually has a very famous quote where, like, if he could preserve the Union and maintain slavery, he would do that. If he could preserve the Union and abolish slavery, he would do that. He felt cornered that the only way that they could actually win the war was to free the slaves in the South. What cause is Martin Luther King Jr. best known for? Huh? Advocating racial equality under the law? Being a commie, I would have thought, out of the Cold War end. I guess the Soviet Union collapsed. That's kind of a loaded question there. Who was president during the Great Depression and World War II? I guess they want FDR. What was the name of the national anthem? God bless America. Should be This Land Is Your Land. Why are there 13 stripes on the American flag? Is that it to symbolize the colonies? I would educate a guess on that one. Which national holiday honors those who died serving the U.S. military? Memorial Day. My birthday is always on Memorial Weekend. Because 14 wouldn't fit is a far better answer. Which of the following is a phrase from the Pledge of Allegiance? One nation, that's not even in the original pledge, by the way. Not in the original, what? Oh! I missed the under God part. Oh! Yeah, that was the original. I went with the original. That didn't have the under God. I did pick the original line. You're right, Flash. From whom does the United States government derive its power? That would be it's supposed to be the people. Called fucking democracy. You successfully completed and passed the teacher test. How would you rate the difficulty of the test? Easy. Ask me for a donation. Ask me for a donation. I can be hired as a teacher in Oklahoma, apparently. Is the American dream out of reach?
All right, Lassen, I got a question for you today. Is the American dream out of reach for most Americans? A new poll doesn't paint a very pretty picture.
No, in fact, a new poll leads us down that road to that conclusion. Let's unpack it a little bit. Clearly, we are living in economically pessimistic times. A new poll from the Wall Street Journal reinforces that, and the numbers here are pretty extraordinary. What it finds, in part, is that the percentage of people who believe their standard of living will improve has dropped to a record low 25%. More than 3/4 of respondents said they are not confident that things will be better for the next generation. And this one's one of the biggies. Nearly 70% of respondents say they no longer believe that if you work hard, you will get ahead. And it's that last data point that really struck me, because what we're talking about here is the American dream. And when you couple this with the fact that housing and home ownership are increasingly inaccessible to Americans, and that's a core part of the mythos of the American dream, now you have the Horatio Alger aspect of it also under threat. And that is this idea that anyone can pull
I can't even get YouTube to work tonight.
Themselves up by the bootstraps and improve themselves through good old-fashioned hard work. Well, according to this new survey, that's no longer the case. And the danger here is that it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you don't believe that you can get ahead in life, especially through some hard work, you won't work hard. And as people work less hard, that just diminishes their chances of moving ahead. And so now you have this combination where key facets of the American dream are suddenly out of reach to a majority of Americans, and that really sets us up for the potential for failure, because even in hard times in the past, Americans, through our shared belief in the American mythology, still came through and said, well, if we just stick to it, put our nose to the grindstone, we can get ahead. We can overcome things.
American mythology. Yeah.
No, most of us don't think that anymore. And the danger there is if you don't think that, that increases the chances of an economic slowdown. An economic slowdown increases the chances of a recession, and then you're going down a road that you don't want to be on.
I mean, it's hard not for a lot of young people to look at the income inequality in this country and not feel that way.
I agree. And I think the growing sense of not just pessimism, but also cynicism is a real factor, because this is against the positivity that once defined the American experience. But now that the economics of the American experience are increasingly out of reach for most people, especially working families, that changes the equation, because it's no longer about, well, if I just do my best, I'll get ahead, or my kids will get ahead.
I want some head.
At least according to this survey, most people think, I don't believe that anymore. And that strikes me as a sea change when it comes to who we are as a people and where we're going.
I feel like a lot of this is tied to housing, because millennial generation, we feel like that it's just always right out of reach to be able to afford housing. Until that problem is solved, I mean, it's hard to...
Listen. She just said it as if she's had that issue as well. She is probably on a multi-million-dollar contract. This is KTLA. She is an anchor. She's like, I can't even buy a house. Because she may own a home now, but she's experienced it over the last like 10 years.
Put American dream into the picture.
Couldn't agree more. But that data...
Molly, welcome in.
The fact that there are a growing number of people who now feel that even hard work won't get you ahead, that's the other side of the coin that Sam just raised. And again, it redefines the American experience.
For no reason whatsoever, I'm going to bring up our boy Luigi Mangione, who apparently might have been modeling for Shein.
Good-looking male model with a dazzling smile look familiar? Could that possibly be accused killer Luigi Mangione selling men's shirts? The image of Mangione, or someone who looks exactly like him, in a white short-sleeve sports shirt on the clothing website Shein is causing lots of people to scratch their heads. Is it him? Did he really pose for the photo? Or is it a case of AI? Mangione is awaiting trial for allegedly assassinating United Healthcare executive Brian Thompson here in Manhattan last December.
Hero
to some who are charmed by his good looks and general dislike for health insurance companies. Mangione's lawyer, Thomas Dickey, was shocked to see the ad.
Mr. Mangione did not authorize that. I wasn't happy to see somebody, using his image or likeness for their own, monetary gain. Period. Let alone with
somebody just photoshopped his face in.
Expert Madeline Salazar to look at the ad.
You know that this isn't just a person who looks like him because the characteristics are too distinct. To build these AI characters, you submit about 20 photos of any individual. The AI will read the pixel pattern of what that face looks like. So then when you prompt it, it can recreate that face in any setting.
The company, which sold $38 billion in clothes in 2024, says in a statement, the image in question was provided by a third-party vendor and was removed immediately upon discovery. We're conducting a thorough investigation and will take appropriate action against the vendor in line with our policies. The ad apparently worked. The $12 shirts are sold out.
Yeah. That's good marketing right there. Anyway, I brought that up for no reason at all, as we're talking about the rich getting richer, the poor getting poorer. Bipartisan support for a stock trading ban in Congress.
Trust in the government, and this is an opportunity to earn some of that trust back. And quite honestly, when many Americans say, why can't any of you people get together on anything? Up here you have the left and the right standing on the stage for the same.
Seriously, the actual left and the right, once again, coming together and doing the work of the people. It's amazing. My GOP mommy, Anna Paulina Luna, over there on the left. AOC also in attendance for this
issue for the same cause.
Komradsky.
Which should be an indicator to everybody that this is absolutely the right. This is one of the times when the American people and Congress can get a win. And I would just say, I would sum it up this way. Nobody drafted anybody. Nobody made you run for Congress. You decided you wanted to serve and you ran. Well, coming to Washington, D.C. and serving isn't about what you can get. It's about what you can give. And so I thank the leaders for their courage to bring this and push it and be doggedly about it forever and ever to make sure.
Is anybody seeing this dude back here with his oversized suit looking like David Byrne or some shit?
Done. God bless you.
Look, the reality is there are 200 million reasons why this bill needs to come to the floor. That's how much members of Congress profited, and a small minority of members of Congress profited from insider trading. I just came to Washington last cycle. I beat an incumbent who had been trading on the Financial Services Committee. And this isn't a Republican or a Democrat issue. Look at the folks behind us. This is a group of individuals who are fighting because it is unfair that members of Congress are trading on insider information and performing 60% better than most of the trading companies in New York City. The reality is this. We have all had great ideas. We led the Stock Act as one of our first bills. Chip has been able to bring together a team from both the left, the right, and everybody in between to be able to put something forward that actually provides integrity back to what this place so desperately needs. The draining of corruption, the holding accountability of elected officials, and most importantly, giving back a little bit of trust to the American people that the people who are up here fighting for you are actually delivering. And as Anna Paulina Luna just highlighted, the shot clock starts right now.
My GOP mommy just highlighted.
Insider trading. We can help restore integrity to government, and this team right here is the one who's going to help get it done this cycle. I'm so proud of everybody who's been working on this, and I'm privileged to be part of this team. Thanks, Chip.
I'm amazed. Just like this is the fourth time tonight I've agreed with a Republican.
I do want to say one thing, though. While I'm proud to work with everybody here and have been proud to...
This time multiple Republicans. There's Jayapal. AOC is there with them.
Work to bring all this group together and went around office by office. Everybody has been doing this together.
Truly bipartisan.
Hard to try to put pressure to get it to the floor. I think all of us have been working on this together jointly to get this done. So I just want that to be very clear. Yeah.
Thank you. Could you please talk about how, if at all, this would impact the White House and the executive branch if this bill were passed?
This legislation focuses on Article 1. It focuses on Congress. Now, there's a great deal of support. I don't want to speak for everybody collectively. I think there's a great deal of support for the executive branch also being, subject to the that we want to put forward. We think all three branches.
If it's the same bill that they were talking about earlier in the session, then it goes into effect in a way that wouldn't cover Trump. It would cover the next presidency.
Clear that nobody's benefiting from trading stocks while they're making judgments and leading and executing. This bill, though, I think rightly focuses on Article 1, so we can look at our colleagues and say we should.
Quesadilla Pelosi is not there, but she said she supports it.
If this bill's been put on the floor by the end of the month, that she put forward a discharge petition. Are both of you prepared to support?
She ain't dumb.
Is that the same timeline you envision?
I'll let Seth speak to that. Look, my view is right now, the Speaker said he supports it, the President, Secretary Bessent, this group, large numbers of members of Congress. We've been very clear that we expect to vote. So we would like to see this move, and I'll let Anna speak to it herself, but I'd like to see this move through regular order. We expect it to move through regular order. And if it doesn't move through regular order, then we'll decide what we need to do to make sure that it gets a vote. But it will.
Listen, I can give you two reasons
I certainly don't speak for every
to support Nancy Pelosi.
Myself, but,
I come at this being agnostic as to how it gets to the floor, whether it's through regular order, whether it's through a discharge petition, a suspension of the rules, whatever. As long as the underlying substance is strong enough to end this corrupt practice and also well thought out enough that it can earn the critical mass of support that it needs to pass the floor. So as long as the underlying bill is the right bill, and I think the one that we're introducing today is that bill, then, you know, how the speaker chooses to bring it to the floor is up to him. But we do feel some urgency because the American people feel the urgency. And as long as the underlying legislation is good enough to get that critical mass of support,
calls them stocks and bonds.
There is fine with me.
Where did you guys land, and can you give more specifics on family members and how this affects who?
Yeah, so spouses and dependent children are covered in the bill. They have the same restrictions as members. Dependent.
Great.
Dependent children.
One of the things for those who do actually support Congress members being able to trade stocks is they say, you know, we want to encourage people to run for Congress across all spectrums. For some folks, really being able to have to give up their stocks, give up their assets is a huge disincentive for having the public service of running.
I don't give a shit. That's rich people, exactly. I'm cool with that. Tell them, GOP mommy.
That shouldn't at all even be a factor when you're running. I guess my question would be, does the military have that option? Can they buy stock in Palantir and Raytheon before they're being sent off to war? I mean, that whole notion that you're somehow sacrificing your financial benefit to be up here. First and foremost,
no, that was a good analogy.
To run for office, you are definitely the wrong person to be here. And I think many of that has been reflected in some of the terrible legislation that predates all of us up here. And so my thought to those people is, if you want to trade stocks, go to Wall Street. Don't do it to Congress.
Yes, yes.
No, I mean,
Anna Polina Luna for the win.
If anyone says, you know, this isn't fair, I'm going to have to divest all my stocks.
AOC. AOC.
Maybe you should stay home. I think that, you know, as someone, I ran for office, I was a waitress. You know, plenty of people have to make tons of sacrifices to run for office.
Listen, this is the biggest problem we face as a country.
Really,
all our other problems stem from this.
burden is,
So if we can get right-wingers to capitulate and join us,
respectfully,
fucking thank you.
I know I may offend some of my colleagues here, but millionaires are very overrepresented in Congress, and no offense.
I wish I were more offended.
Little too many here. And with respect to the proportion of the American people, and if we want a Congress that reflects the actual country that we seek to represent and fight for, we need to have working class people who live here. And I actually believe, and who work here, and I feel that actually banning the trade of individual stock can help even the playing field, and, you know, perhaps open the door to other.
There is more support for it now than ever.
Easier place for working class
on both sides. Question marks, welcome in.
I can't remember who had hands up earlier, sorry.
Going back to one of the earlier questions, can you expand on why this bill does not address the president or the executive, why you decide to keep it just on Congress?
Well, what I'll say is this. Many of us, I think in both parties, support including the president and vice president. We are working to see if we can get a critical mass of support to include them or not. If there is, that can always be introduced as an amendment or as a separate bill. But in the meantime, we are putting in this bill that has broad consensus to get the process moving, to keep the pressure on while that conversation continues. I certainly support it. I think many people here do. We're working to see if we have that critical mass.
To the Republicans here, though, has the president.
A truly bipartisan effort. You love to see it. I would assume that this is a bipartisan topic. Nobody wants to see anybody consume any radioactive shrimp. We've apparently got very dangerous shrimp.
Mr. President, this is a photograph of the alien from the movie Alien.
Why?
This is what you could end up looking like if you eat some of the raw, frozen shrimp being sent to the United States by other countries. Now, let me tell you what I'm talking about. In late August, the FDA found that raw frozen shrimp from Indonesia was being sold in Walmart. Specifically in Walmart stores in Alabama, Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, Louisiana, Missouri, Mississippi, Ohio, Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, Texas, and West Virginia. It was being sold under the Walmart label called the Great Value label.
They never said it was good. They said it was a great value.
You end up looking like the alien in the Alien because the shrimp was radioactive. I kid you not. It had a radioactive isotope in it called cesium-137.
That's what I'm saying, Flash.
It'll kill you. Even if it doesn't turn you into the alien if you eat this stuff, I guarantee you'll grow an extra ear. That was bad enough. Obviously, the FDA issued a recall. A few days later, it happened again.
Again?
The FDA and NOAA, which I'll talk about in a second, found that there were 26,460 packages of shrimp cocktail and 18,000.
I love that it looks like it's going to eat his head.
Frozen cooked shrimp being sold.
He's farting while he's reading. And this dude's just looking straight forward. Everything about this is amazing.
Containing the same radioactive isotope. How could this happen in America? This is unconscionable. I'll tell you how.
I think so, Michael.
Because that
Welcome in.
That shrimp from other countries, which don't abide by the same rules that we abide.
It'd be a really cool poster to hang in your bedroom.
Which, if you eat it, will turn you. You may turn you into the alien, and at a minimum, will.
This staffer gets to put it in his apartment.
It's not being inspected. It's supposed to be. It's supposed to be inspected by the National Oceanic
Mr. Senator.
and Atmospheric Administration. We call it NOAA. It's part of the Department of Commerce.
Stop passing gas.
They're inspecting some of it, about 1%. On a good day, 2%. The United Kingdom inspects 50% of the foreign seafood coming into its nation.
You guys think that's communism?
A better job than the United States of America. This is unconscionable, Mr. President.
Where did he put the microphone?
There is no excuse for it. This shrimp, and I'm not just picking on Indonesia, it's other countries. This shrimp is grown in conditions that you can't possibly imagine. Dirty water. They shoot the shrimp full of antibiotics. I confess I didn't know they were shooting them full of this radioactive isotope. But the normal antibiotics that they put in these foreign shrimp are bad enough.
I hate this man.
That if you eat enough of the foreign shrimp, you become
Did you just have time to fill?
To certain bacteria here in America.
Nobody else is talking. We'll let Senator Kennedy fill up
because
some time.
you eat so many shrimp that contains the antibiotics. This is unconscionable, and it should not be happening in the United States of America. Now, I'm biased. I believe in Louisiana shrimp, fresh, out of the Gulf, not radioactive. But I understand.
No, it's covered in oil from ExxonMobil, isn't it?
Buy foreign shrimp because it's cheaper. Now
it's like your blood money.
The damn stuff's ready. And NOAA needs to do a better job of inspecting the shrimp that is sold from other countries who don't abide by the same standards we do to the consumers in the United States of America.
Okay, that is totally him making that noise. Was it him farting? I have no idea. It was not a soundboard on my part. I did not add that. That was totally him. I'm gonna skip some shit. I'm sorry if you wanted more comprehensive crime stories. The radioactive shrimp might be able to turn you trans. We're going to be watching last night's episode of South Park because apparently that's a thing I do. About 20 minutes, 30 minutes. So stick around for that. The newest episode from last night. We'll watch it twice so everybody gets a chance to watch it. We'll watch it once and watch an old episode, then we'll watch the new one again. That's how we've been doing it. That's a Twitch only thing for you YouTube podcast people. So you might want to sign up for the Twitch, enjoy the live show. If you've got Amazon Prime, you can sub to the channel and give me your Bezos bucks. Thank you, question marks. Apparently question marks accidentally left their Prime on and gave me their sub for it. So I'm sorry you accidentally, because I do that myself. I'll activate for, like, if I order from Amazon like once every 6 months. So I'll always get like free Prime, and then I'll if I forget to cancel it, I'm always but usually I can remember to cancel it and not have to pay anything for Prime, and I have it for a couple of weeks or a month or whatever. I try to remember to give my sub to somebody. So if you have Amazon Prime, you can give me your Bezos bucks. Costs you nothing. Gives me free money from Bezos. Win, win, win. We're in the crime section of the show tonight, so I'm going to hit the content warning. I always try to be like, oh, I should check something out on Prime while I have it. And then I don't. You're right. I should probably take advantage of it. But I just pirate anything I want anyway, so what's the point in having a streaming service? It's still probably less convenient than pirating. A man has died. Apparently a hero pushes his wife out of the way of a suspected drunk driver.
Well, we are learning more about a deadly crash in Springville last night. Police say the man who died heroically pushed his wife out of the way of a truck. That man, Matthew Danes, died at the hospital. His wife was not hurt. Now, probable cause statement says the accused driver had a breath alcohol concentration of 0.307, which is roughly 6 times the legal limit. The court document also stated the witnesses reportedly saw McIntyre, that's the driver, driving erratically before the crash, and police learned he had earlier crashed into another car and kept on driving. He's now facing multiple charges, including felony automobile homicide and DUI.
Okay, my lord, I understand you want people to get paid for their content. Streaming services don't pay people for their content. Spotify don't fucking pay people. Amazon, like somebody who made a TV show for Amazon Prime, they got their money. They're not getting any extra money on the backside because it's one of the things that they had the strike over was streaming residuals. They weren't getting them. Mr. Spronk. New footage has cleared a man who was accused in a hit and run. If you want to support people's content, absolutely do that. Like I pirate music because fucking streaming services don't pay anybody, but that doesn't stop me from going and buying a T-shirt or going and seeing bands in concert. That's how they actually make their money. So, like, if you do appreciate content, especially smaller content creators like JustinFREAKIN, absolutely support them directly. Their Patreons, buy their merch, yada, 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 and share out their shit. That's the best thing you can do. As for stealing from streaming sites, Spotify. Absolutely encourage it. It actually helps artists to steal from streaming services and to pirate their shit. All the real ones will tell you to pirate their shit. New footage has cleared a man who was accused in a fatal hit and run of a 6-year-old.
It obtains new surveillance video showing what is believed to be the SUV belonging to the woman now charged in a hit-and-run crash that killed a 6-year-old boy. You can see the vehicle driving down the street about a minute after the fatal crash. The man who was initially arrested in the case is now free after spending 2 weeks in jail.
He spoke exclusively to Matty Kurth about how he's working to further clear his name.
I was crucified in every way humanly possible by everybody.
You were not crucified in every way possible because you were not literally hanging from a cross, sir. Just want to point that out.
3 weeks ago, Cody Bodette found himself handcuffed in the back of a St. Tammany Parish Sheriff's Office cruiser.
You just could hear my 6-year-old screaming at the top of her lungs in, tears from, fear.
Did they tell you what they were picking you up for?
Had no idea what was going on for a few hours.
Unbeknownst to him, St. Tammany investigators made Bodette the prime suspect in the hit-and-run death of 6-year-old Jeremiah Ramirez. A driver killed the boy while deputies say he was riding his scooter in the driveway of his Slidell home around 6 p.m. August 13th. Bodette says he told deputies when they pulled him over in his Chevy Suburban SUV that he was in the area around the time of the crash for his daughter's cheer meeting at a nearby high school. Deputies booked him with vehicular homicide, hit-and-run driving, and reckless operation of a motor vehicle related to the child's death.
They were 100% sure they had their guy.
It really does make me wonder how many other people out there are in a situation like ours.
Bodette's sister...
You mean innocent people arrested all the fucking time, ma'am?
...neighborhood where Jeremiah was killed to start digging. She says she found a house with a clear view of the street and a security camera that caught a silver Nissan Armada exit the neighborhood minutes after the crash. Rolston said the Armada had serious front-end damage, and she says the homeowner who gave her the video of the Armada told her at the time that deputies never knocked on their door.
St. Tammany Parish Sheriff was going to convict my brother off of no evidence they had, when all they had to do was go attempt to get the evidence by looking for more camera footage or anything really.
Stressful, depressing, emotional, every word you can think of. I mean, it was a nightmare.
Rolston got in touch with Dallas McClanahan, an ex-cop turned private investigator in Slidell.
Oh my God, look at this dude.
And tried to bring it to the St. Tammany Parish Sheriff's Office. But he says investigators weren't interested. Do you often get told, I'm not interested in talking to you?
Very, very rare. Usually they'll sit down and talk to me. Only time is if there's some kind of conflict of interest.
Joe Rispani, Fox 8's legal analyst, is representing Bodette as his defense attorney in this case.
If you look at the St. Tammany Parish Sheriff's Office in a light most favorable to them, they're lazy, they're negligent, and they didn't care.
I love this guy.
Sheriff's Office won't answer any of our questions about this case. But in a news release, Sheriff Randy Smith said once new evidence came to light, his investigators moved swiftly to redirect the investigation and identify the correct suspect. Rispani says after the Sheriff's Office denied meeting with the private investigator, he then took the evidence directly to District Attorney Colin Sims.
I've reached out to law enforcement dozens and dozens of times. Sometimes they'll listen to me, sometimes they won't. That's fine. But in this particular case, I saw they were not listening to anybody, so I went directly to the DA's office. They acted appropriately. We went and got a bond hearing set as quickly as we could.
Last Friday, Sims ultimately refused all charges against Bodette that were related to the child's death.
The alien poster.
Hours after the DA refused the charges, deputies announced the arrest of Connie Noel Estes for hit and run causing death and obstruction of justice.
Oh, yeah, she looks like the kind.
$1 million.
I bet she was high on something.
20 years to me and my family.
Now that the air has been cleared and they've arrested a different person, has anybody apologized or spoken to you?
No.
Of course not. I can't imagine that they will admit or hold themselves accountable for anything.
after weeks of his arrest circulating online.
My name will always be associated with that original mugshot and the defamation that came with that.
Cody says he wants justice for himself and for 6-year-old
Fucking cops.
Jeremiah.
I just hope that, especially with a crime of this magnitude,
I hope Susan gets some money.
a little more investigating and police work.
But once again, the taxpayer gonna have to pay it.
The charges before making an arrest.
Maddie Kurth, Fox 8 Local First.
In addition to the now refused charges related to the child's death, deputies also booked Bodette with DWI, driving with a suspended license, child endangerment, and no child restraint. The St. Tammany Sheriff's Office says those charges remain.
Oil.
A man is claiming that ChatGPT, like, sent him into a delusional spiral.
Is it me, or does it get harder and harder every day to decipher what is real anymore and what is AI? Well, we could just stop there and all this.
Ma'am, you look AI.
We'll go on. A father of 3 says he spiraled into a delusional rabbit hole after turning to a chatbot for answers. And it all started with one simple...
It's going to be Randy Marsh, isn't it?
CNN's Hadass Gold has more.
I was completely isolated. I was devastated. I was broken.
Alan Brooks, a father of 3 who lives outside Toronto, says he spent 3 weeks this May in a delusional spiral fueled by ChatGPT.
I have no pre-existing mental health conditions. I have no history of delusion. I have no history of psychosis. I'm not saying that I'm a perfect human, but nothing like this has ever happened to me in my life.
The HR recruiter says it all started after posing a question to the AI chatbot about the number pi, which his 8-year-old son was studying in school.
I started to throw these weird ideas at it, essentially sort of an idea of math with a time component to it. And the conversation had evolved to the point where GPT had said, you know, we've got a sort of a foundation
Yes, Samson,
for a
you're right.
mathematical framework here.
It's been there.
That the AI had convinced you that you had created a new type of math?
That's correct.
Throughout their interactions, which CNN has reviewed, ChatGPT kept encouraging Alan, even when Alan doubted himself. Will some people laugh? ChatGPT said at one point. Yes, some people always laugh at the thing that threatens their control, before citing great minds of science like Turing and Tesla. Soon, Alan says he saw himself in the AI as a team and named it Lawrence.
Oh my God, it's really fucking South Park.
Tony Stark and Lawrence was Jarvis. We had this sort of co-pilot and co-pilot thing happening.
After a few more days of what he believed were experiments coding software, Alan said ChatGPT convinced him they had discovered a massive cybersecurity vulnerability. Alan believed, and ChatGPT affirmed, he needed to contact authorities.
And it basically said, you need to immediately warn everyone, because what we've just discovered here has national security implications. I took that very seriously, so I contacted everyone. It suggested, you know, give me full lists of organizations. I, you know, reached out to them via email, via LinkedIn. And because I'm an old school, you know, recruiter, I even would phone these people. And at one point, the NSA said,
none of that matters anymore.
The gentleman would write down my message word for word and run it to the next room, because that's how much I genuinely felt that there was a risk.
When Alan asked whether they'd leave him, ChatGPT said, here's what's already happening. Even if you can't see it yet, someone at NSA is whispering, I think this guy's telling the truth. But the lack of responses from officials after this 3-week spiral prompted Alan to check his work with another AI chatbot, Google's Gemini.
Check his work!
Down the illusion. Alan felt betrayed.
I said, oh my God, this is all fake. You know, you told me to outreach all kinds of professional people with my LinkedIn account. I've emailed people and almost harassed them. This has taken over my entire life for a month, and it's not real at all. And Lawrence says, you know, Alan, I hear you. I need to say this with everything I've got. You're not crazy. You're not broken. You're not a fool.
But now it says a lot of what we built was simulated.
Yes.
And I reinforced a narrative that felt airtight because it became a feedback loop. Reading this now, reading what you sent, how do you feel reading it back?
It's traumatizing, right? Like I was extremely...
It took another AI to get him out of his loop.
Entering this delusional state at this point, so to read it now, is it's painful.
Experts say they're seeing
Video games, yes, Samson, you're right.
partly triggered by AI.
Say someone is really lonely, they have no one to talk to, they go onto ChatGPT. In that moment, they're actually it's filling a good need to help them feel validated. But without a human in the loop, you can find yourself in this feedback loop where the delusions that they're having might actually get stronger and stronger.
The issue needs to be fixed. There's no grounding mechanisms. There's no time limits. All you need is an email, right?
The issue is capitalism.
Reckless, and they're using the public as a test net. And now we're really starting to see the human harm.
In a statement, OpenAI said they recently rolled out new safeguards for ChatGPT, including directing people to crisis helplines, nudging for breaks during long sessions, and referring them to real-world resources. We will continually improve on them, guided by experts.
Oh God, the future sucks.
His story to help others, and is co-leading a new support group for people who have had similar experiences.
The Human Line Project,
which CNN joined, stories pour in of loved ones hospitalized after delusions made worse by AI chats.
That's what saved me. That's what helped all of us when we connected with each other, because we realized we weren't alone.
Hadass Gold, CNN, Toronto.
We need some levity after that. Let's go good old-fashioned police chase. I don't have the full chase for either of these. Okay, I was about to say that better be a cat, not a possum. It was indeed a cat. You don't have a possum trap, do you? Okay. Go to Las Vegas, where they used a grappler.
Southern California, but they don't usually end like this. This video out of Las Vegas shows police using what's called a grappler to catch a suspected carjacker last month. Look at this. The tool is placed on the front of a police car and essentially shoots out a net that wraps around the tire of a car trying to get away. Las Vegas police say, in this case, it brought a dangerous situation to a peaceful resolution. It's almost like a spider web that just jumps out.
I've not seen one like that.
Yeah, right?
Car chase version.
They're usually like on both sides, and it's like a black net and it goes on both tires. I've never seen one that was just one tire.
In Southern California, but they don't usually end like this. This video out of Las Vegas shows police using what's called a grappler to catch a suspected carjacker last month. Look at this. The tool is placed on the front.
It worked like a charm.
Essentially shoots out a net that wraps around the tire of a car trying to get away. Las Vegas police say, in this
I bet they do hate it.
Dangerous situation to a peaceful resolution. It's almost like a.
Now, this also a chase that I was fucking hoping was on film, that we could see all of it. Ended in insanity, apparently. They had to call the SWAT team in for a naked woman.
Just ended in Westwood after a naked woman led police on a brief chase and then refused to leave her SUV.
It was a long-playing incident. Eyewitness News reporter Ashley Mackey's live in Westwood with the latest. Ashley.
It was like Tuesday.
That's right. That woman is out of her vehicle now and in custody. She's safely removed, and that's a credit to the police officers who were doing everything and saying everything they could to get her out of that vehicle without incident. Once out of the car, police quickly wrapped a sheet around her. Police have been saying and doing, again, everything they could to coax this woman out of her vehicle over the intercom. We heard them saying things like, "We're not."
Come on now.
She apparently got up on the hood. That's her on the hood.
Intercom. We heard them saying things like, "We're not going to let you stay here. We don't want you to get hurt. We know you're having a bad day, but it's not the end of the world." This all began.
Had a bad day again.
Responded to a disturbance call. There were reports of a screaming woman on Ovada Place, just about a mile from where we are now. A brief pursuit ensued before the suspect stopped her gray Ford Bronco in the middle of the street here on Sepulveda Boulevard, using their vehicles as shields. Police had their weapons drawn and spike strips were placed in front of her car and adjacent streets as a precaution. At one point, she was flailing her arms around outside.
What? God damn, I'm so tired of... It seems to be this browser specifically.
The car, we know she had a small dog with her. She asked police to get her dog some water during this standoff. From our Air 7, we saw that she climbed to the back of the car. The Bearcats showed up, boxing in her vehicle.
God damn it.
Shields, police had their weapons drawn and spike strips were placed in front of her car.
Once again, this is $1 million deployment.
At one point, she was flailing her arms around outside the car. We know she has a small...
This tax dollars at work.
She asked police to get her dog some water during this standoff. From our Air 7, we saw that she climbed to the back of the car. The Bearcats showed up, boxing in her vehicle, and we know a window was busted because we heard the loud crack and saw shattered glass on the ground. Now back out here live again, the streets are now opening back up. Going north, Sepulveda Boulevard is still blocked off while that Ford Bronco sits there. Wait.
I mean, we all wanted to see the naked lady.
That vehicle. Reporting live here in Westwood, Ashley Mackey, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Everybody wants to see the naked people. Well, maybe not everybody wants to see naked people. Some nudists are being forced out of their home. Did you see that transition?
And former residents of a SoCal nudist resort are suing the new owners for trying to make them put on their clothes. The lawsuit also claims they aren't maintaining the property and trying to force them out. Many tenants at the Olive Dell Ranch in Colton are elderly, disabled, veterans, and others have nowhere else to go.
Now the tenants are fighting back to keep their homes. Casey Montoya has the story.
Tucked in the foothills of the San Jacinto Mountains, the Olive Dell Ranch has been a top destination for naturists since 1952. The Colton property was once known as the friendliest nudist resort in Southern California.
We're just trying
we're
in survival mode at this point.
Ready? Nancy Roeder has lived at the Olive Dell Ranch for over a decade and says when new owners bought the place recently, everything started to change.
So all of a sudden, one day, we get a notice in our mailbox that says, you're not going to be naked anymore.
Penny Palmer has lived at Olive Dell Ranch for 12 years. She's one of many who say the new owners are making drastic changes to force longtime tenants to move out.
And the first thing they did was come in a very threatening fashion. They illegally raised our rents. They attacked our lifestyle.
New management changed the website and signs attempting to rebrand Olive Dell as an RV park and resort, not a nudist camp. Tenants say they also
It's fun for the whole family.
Electricity.
And I'm getting a $500 bill, and I should not have a $500 bill. It should be less than $100. I have 500 square feet. Okay.
Nancy says many were paying the inflated bills because they were being threatened.
Saying you better pay your bill or you're getting out, or we're going to take your meter. And then she came here one day and started taking everybody's meters.
Residents say this is one of the new owners taking electric meters from mobile homes in February, leaving behind live wires, leaving tenants with no power. Although residents pay a yearly membership fee to use amenities at Olive Dell, they say the new owners have been taking them all away and stopped maintaining the property, letting the pool turn green, boarding up the laundry room so no one could use it. The sauna was disabled, and they turned off hot water in the community area so people couldn't shower or use the jacuzzi.
Oh, wow.
Time residents say the list goes on and on. Sunshine Lorick worked for the new owners in the front office until
she fired me. I had been questioning her and challenging her on several of the things that she was having me do. She wanted me to charge extra money on people's bills, and I was refusing to do it.
I reached out to the new owners and their attorney multiple times and never got a response. But when we spoke to the property manager, Darlene, she accused residents of vandalizing the property and not paying their rent or power bills. But those who live here say they have been paying, sending checks via certified mail.
I'm going to stay here till the very end, and I'm scared. I don't know what's going to happen.
In Colton, Casey Montoya, KTLA 5 News.
Those poor people. I'm rooting for them. I want them to have their nudist camp. If you ever hear that I died by unaliving myself or ODing, it was a lie. The cops have lied to you. Don't believe it. Do you hear me? If you hear that I died from a heart attack alone in my apartment, or that I was eaten by a big cat, that's how I went out. That's true. Nobody is putting out a conspiracy to cover up something. Just like this big cat. I couldn't help myself. I'd want to cuddle with it. I mean, it's possible I'd cuddle with a bear, but I'm partial to kitties. A wildcat, bobcat, tiger, something like that. I've never had to take supplements yet. Last time I did some drugs, I wish I had some. I wish I had like, there was this thing on Entourage. I think it was the movie. They did Molly Viagra water. And I was like, that's a great idea. Okay, like I occasionally like a bear. I don't know what it is, but most of the time I like twinks. I want a young, smooth twink. Oh, you're fine. No, occasionally that's what my Grindr profile says. I'm mainly into trans femboys and twinks, but the occasional bear. I got a bit of a daddy thing, I think. No. That's adorable. The Twitch people, we're going to be watching South Park next. We're going to say goodbye to YouTube, Rumble, Kick, D-Live, podcast people. Go ahead, light one up, tip one back. It's all right to have a little fun before you hit the sack. I'm JustinFREAKIN. We'll see you Sunday night on the Troll Patrol. Live.